When the soldiers were cleaning up the battlefield, they unexpectedly captured a 92mm gun. But strangely, no shells were found on the vehicle. A gun without shells is just a pile of scrap metal. The captain was somewhat disappointed, but he still brought this lump of iron back to the brigade. The soldier with glasses stared at the slogan on the gun for a long time and finally realized that this gun was no ordinary one. It was something bestowed by the enemy leader himself, and it held great significance. Given this, the captain then had the soldiers find a vacant spot on the hillside and bury the gun there. They also put up a sign on top. Meanwhile, on the other side, the enemy forces couldn't stay calm. The enemy officer had lost the gun bestowed by the leader and was so anxious that he even sweated. With no other choice, he decided to negotiate with the captain. The next day, the soldiers received a letter from the enemy, which clearly stated that they wanted to exchange supplies for the gun. However, the captain didn't make excessive demands. The supplies he asked for in the reply were just rice, peanuts, and the like. When the enemy officer received the letter, he laughed. He was sure that the soldiers were using this as bait to catch him off guard. So on the day of the exchange, he brought all his men to the trading spot. If the other side dared to play any tricks, he would engage in a direct battle. But what he didn't expect was that although there was an ambush, it was just some straw men with fake guns. His real intention was to use this opportunity to directly raid the enemy's arsenal. The enemy officer was completely unaware of this ploy. When he hurried to the trading spot, he saw soldiers in the woods and secretly rejoiced that he had brought enough men. With the two sides now evenly matched, he had nothing to fear. He straightened his back and asked about the trading method. The captain decided to have some fun with them. He demanded that the enemy officer and his deputy carry the grain over themselves. Even though the other side was extremely reluctant, they had no choice but to comply since they were at the captain's mercy. The captain just lay back in his chair, sipping tea, and watched the enemy officer strain to carry the grain. It was such a satisfying sight. After what seemed like an eternity, all the grain was finally moved. The captain kept his promise and returned the gun, but on the condition that the enemy officer come over alone to get it. The enemy officer was furious inside, but for the sake of the gun bestowed by the leader, he had to endure it. So he slowly got up and went to the gun. The captain teased him, saying he looked like Pigsy, a character from a famous Chinese story. After a brief conversation, the enemy officer quickly started to pull the gun back. Since he had just used up a lot of energy, pulling this 92mm gun now was almost killing him. Just as he sat down to rest, he suddenly saw the soldiers in the woods being blown over by the wind. It was only then that he realized he had been tricked.